Barack Obama's visit to Cuba last year, the first by a sitting U.S. president in nearly 90 years, marked the end to one of the Cold War's last and longest conflicts. Decades of hostility that included a failed American invasion and the Cuban Missile Crisis. A U.S. embargo on the Caribbean island nation largely crippled and isolated its economy. But it didn't oust its leaders, Fidel Castro, and then his brother-turned-successor, Raul. The Obama administration stopped short of ending the embargo, a move that required congressional action. But it did lift many of the restrictions that prevented Americans from visiting Cuba, including those with family there.
Cubans have a saying about daily life. No es fácil. It's not easy. Today, the United States wants to be a partner in making the lives of ordinary Cubans a little bit easier.
Fewer than 3 years after diplomatic relations were restored, Havana is now full of U.S. tourists and their U.S. dollars. U.S. airliners offer direct flights, and American cruise ships now sail into Cuban waters. And under the water, a team of American and Cuban scientists this year got a rare look at the bay's thriving coral. The cooperation only made possible thanks to an environmental deal signed in 2015, the first major accord between the two countries. But now questions surrounding the mysterious illness of several American diplomats in Cuba have largely halted any progress. Washington suspects Cold War-like tactics were used to launch acoustic attacks on embassy staff. Cuba denies any wrongdoing and says it has opened its own probe. And this year, Obama's successor, Donald Trump, backtracked on some of the openness.
We will not lift sanctions on the Cuban regime until all political prisoners are freed.
Trump reintroduced restrictions on Americans doing business with 180 companies and hotels owned by Cuban officials. The White House said they were profiting directly from the boom. Since then, some commercial flights to Cuba have been canceled, and some carriers have discontinued the route altogether.
Any strategy that seeks to destroy the revolution, either through coercion or pressure or through more subtle methods, will fail.
Officially, relations between the two countries remain unchanged, but they are chilling once again, soured observers say, by renewed mistrust. Now, Trump said his policy, as opposed to Obama's, would directly benefit Cubans and small Cuban businesses. But critics warn Trump's approach may ultimately have the exact opposite effect, strengthening the very people and state that the U.S. has long sought to weaken. Roe Ruttenberg, CGTN in Washington.